Shalom friends, and welcome to tutorial number 15. In this tutorial we are going to be looking at the two new Hebrew letters, and one of them has a final form. So this first letter is called a tzadi, and it has the pronunciation kind of like a TS, like etz, and sometimes you might see that written as a TZ. This next one is the final tzadi, or Tzadi Safit as it might be called, and I'll just put a TZ there, and you can distinguish which is the best way for you to remember that. And like all our final forms, except for the mem, this bottom of the tzadi is going to come beneath the page break. There are 5 of them. We've learned, well, this will be the 4th one we've learned. We got one more to learn for the Fe, which we'll take up in the next lesson, which, by the way, this is the next to last lesson. So we're just about done. This last letter here is called a zayin, and it has a pronunciation equivalent to the English Z. The handwriting, the block script versions are fairly easy to write and hopefully easy to remember. The way I would think of writing the tzadi is kind of like you're doing a noon, but much more of an angle there, and then you'll bring your little stem to the right down to that line. Now be careful not to confuse the tzadi for the ayin. Remember, the ayin is more of the ayin is a silent letter, but you can see how they kind of could look similar. It was hard for me to distinguish between the two when I was first learning Hebrew. The final tzadi, you could, well, the way it's shown up above is kind of at an angle like that, and then I don't know if that's a good depiction or not, but you can, I'll show you some other ways of writing. Well, people would know what you meant if you were to write that. The zayin, remember the zayin, you're going to need to put this little dashed part up at the top and then come straight down in the middle. So if you write your vavs like that, be sure to distinguish, let that have a gap on the back there so that people will be able to know that that's zayin and not a vav. You might also see the tzadi more, I don't know, fancy, kind of like this. And the final form, same with the final form. Just remember that you need to bring these guys beneath the page, something like that. Zayin, there's not much to that. It's just a dashed line, then a horizontal line. Unfortunately, the handwriting script version is quite different, and for all 3 of them, except for the final side. We've already learned a letter similar to this. We will use, actually the first one will look like the, so for the initial or medial tzadi, we'll kind of, I think it's a little bit taller and narrow than you would probably normally, you'll see in a minute when we use it in conjunction with other letters that we'll want it to be taller rather than wider, I suppose. Not like you know, the way you might write a fat numeral 3 or something like that. The final tzadi, just remember the way we write the lamed. It'll start out the same. When you get to the top, loop it on around over to the left like that. The zayin, is the way to remember it is this going to be like a mirror image of the handwriting version of the gimel. So it'll look like this. So the tzadi again, the final tzadi, and then zayin. So if we practice these with our vowels, and the equivalent to tza would be tzadi with the patah down below. Tse would be tzadi with the hard A vowel mark. Ze would be the zayin with the sigol. Z would be the Zayin with the kibbutz. And then these last two, for oats, we'd use the final tzadi. The kolum vav, and then we're going to use that final tzadi, kind of like that. Uts would be the same. And there you have it. Now if we go on to exercise 5, Mitsuyan in Hebrew is a kind of like a word of expression. It means excellent. A lot of times you hear it in as an expression of like something is great or something is awesome. Oh, that's excellent, that type of thing. So we start out with a mem. We'll have a silent shva, tzadi. And typically what I wanted to show you was a lot of times you'll see the tzadi kind of really tall, a little bit taller than the rest of the letters. And this will have a kibbutz, and then a yud, and I believe that's a kamatz there, and then the final nun. Mitsuyan. So if someone were to tell you, Ani gadar be'Israel, I live in Israel, and you might say, Mitsuyan, that's wonderful, that's great, excellent. Muzzle is a common word. Maybe some of you've heard of this. It's going to be a mem, patah, zayin, chamatz, and then a lamed. And this means luck. And you'll typically hear this in conjunction with one of the words we learned in the last lesson, which was tov, meaning good. So mazel tov would be good luck. Zion, we start out with the tzadi. This is really just Zion. And have a hiddick beneath, a yud, a kolum vav, and the final nun. Eretz is land or earth, and start with an Alef, Sego, a Resh, a Sego, and then the final tzadi. And a lot of times you hear Eretz Israel, people talking about the land of Israel. Zeh is going to be a Zayin. You hear this word a lot as well, Sego, and then the He. And this is referring to, that's what it means, this. That's the masculine version, so if you're referring to like a male or something, a masculine, I guess masculine noun, you would, or a person, or like really more of an object, I suppose, you would use this form. If it were female, you'd use zot, which is zayin, oops, the zayin, and I believe we have an Alef with a reduced kolum vav, and with a tov, I'm sorry, a tav on the end. And I want to check on that real quick because pretty sure, yeah, that's correct. Actually, I do have the kolum vav, well, the dot in the wrong place. It's let me redo that. The Zayin will have a dot. Sometimes you might see this dot like right above, really more to the top, rather than to the top left like I always put it. But it doesn't have the Alef and then Tav. Okay, and Rotza is, this is just a verb. Tzadi and I guess I'll put up a ta there. I'm going to check on this. This means to want, but this would be the feminine version. Rotze would be the male version or the masculine version. This also here, zot, meant this as well, but it was the female form. And so rotze is rotza is a very common word obviously, and you hear it a lot as well in modern Hebrew as well as in biblical Hebrew. And if I could find this is the final hey and a chamatz. So I think I got the verb wrong there. I'm sorry, the This is supposed to be a kamutz. Yitzchak is how you would say Isaac in... I got that spelled wrong. Isaac in Hebrew. So this would have Yitz. So we'd have a... It's going to start out with Yud. Yidik Yud. The Tzadi will have a silent shva there. Chet with the patah, and this is going to end with a kuf. Kind of a strange combination. Yitzchak. Well, it's tough for someone like me to write. To say, because you got that guttural followed by a hard K or a hard Q. So Yitzchak, Yitzchak, and kind of all of the Hebrew names, kind of like that a little bit. So that introduces the tzadi and the final tzadi, as well as the zayin. Really quick, since we've got a little bit more time left over than usual. Looking to see if there was any more examples I wanted to show you. And the Yitzchak actually comes from a verb, which is zochek. Let me show it to you. Meaning laughter. Probably many of you knew that, the story from the Bible, where Sarah laughs when the angel tells her she's going to have a child, and so it comes from that verb, meaning laughs. And I believe, let me check on the gender of that. I believe that should be masculine, but I could be wrong. No, that's right. That's masculine. So the Zadi is an interesting letter that you'll find that all throughout Hebrew. A lot of different Hebrew words will use that. And the Zayin is used quite commonly as well. So let's leave it at that and go ahead and wrap this up. We got one more lesson left, and then we'll be finished with the series. See you in the next video.